Hello. So you want to grow your business with Google Ads, but maybe you're feeling a little bit anxious because it's kind of overwhelming. There's search, there's display, there's video, there's all these fancy smart bidding campaigns that people are talking about. So how do we start? Well, I recommend search. It's bread and butter. It is the most profitable piece of the Google advertising ecosystem, even though YouTube is growing at a rapid rate and the stockholders are extremely excited about that. Google search is their most profitable piece of the business, and the reason for that is because it works. It is the highest intent channel, and what I mean by that is you have the best chance of running into people that have the exact need for your product. So let's start it off. So we're going to press start now. And I have a bunch of these Google Ads accounts. So we're just going to create a new one. And so right when you get to this screen that says, what is your main advertising goal? I skip right over it. I go right into expert mode. The reason for that is Google, as good as they are and as much data as they have on us, they cannot give you a perfect, tailored campaign for your business, right? They're basing these off of millions and tens of millions of different businesses out there that have used their products. And these are the most common, but we want to really make sure that we're being tailored, and we really just want to make sure that we are using a solution that is right for our business, not a one size fits all. So even though it's easy and it looks really nice to go up here, we want to go all the way down here to expert mode and click that. So let's dive in. So in this case, I'm going to pretend I'm selling $100 wallets. My hypothetical website is going to be called $100wallet.com. Not my website. I'm sure it's out there. Let's sell those wallets. So it's going to be a sales campaign focused on Google search, as we mentioned. So we're going to put in $100wallet.com. We're going to skip over conversion actions because that's a more advanced topic that I'll cover in another video. So go and continue. And then we're going to call this luxury wallets. And immediately here, I turn off both of these networks. Why? Well, it's very hard to use these correctly. And essentially, you want to be on the Google SERP, the Google Search Engine's results page. If you're not on that page, it's not going to be as specific. It's not going to be as strong of a result. These networks are cheaper, but they're cheaper because there's less demand for these. Anyone who knows anything about Google search ads is turning these off unless they have a campaign specific to include these. So that's very advanced stuff. I would stay away from it if you're a beginner. Make sure you uncheck these boxes. You'll thank me later. So I'm in the United States with this hypothetical business, and I'm serving ads in English because I'm writing them in English. So I want only people that speak English. Makes sense. So I'm going to set a budget of $10 a day, and we get all the way down here to clicks. Also, we're skipping over audiences because, again, it's an advanced thing. Once you layer on audiences with different keywords, it gets very complicated very fast. So we're going to set our specific audience later on when we go and set up the ads and the keywords. So we've got a $10 budget. We're focusing on clicks. There's other options here that I'll talk about in a future video around conversion tracking and what that means and the considerations you should have around conversion tracking. But for now, we're focusing on clicks. But we want to set a maximum cost per click bid limit, because when you're dealing with something that is frequently sold by especially big businesses, or there's a lot of competition online, you can run into situations where you will easily pay more than you're expecting per click. Now, every keyword is different, but I like to use, especially when I'm going into a new market, I like to set very reasonable cost per click bid limits so that I can start getting a little bit of traffic, but that I'm not getting gouged by spending money on some like super wealthy person who buys, yachts all the time. That person's going to cost like 20 or 30 or hundreds of dollars per click, right? And we don't want to use all of our budget on just one person. So I'm going to set this cost per click bid limit to $1. And we'll get into this in another video, this option. This is actually a very important option for advanced users, but we'll talk about that later. Extensions are also a super helpful thing, but again, don't get overwhelmed with this. These are advanced options that are only going to improve on a strategy that is very sound and logical. So don't stress about this stuff. So we're going to save and continue. So now we're on our ad group portion here. So luxury wallets. And so as you might expect, we're going to be focusing our keywords around luxury wallets because this is a $100 wallet. It's not too cheap. It's not like those really skinny wallets. I've got one that holds like 7 or 8 cards, and then beyond that, you have to store everything on your desk or something like that. Definitely not what I do. So $100 wallet. I'm going to just try luxury wallet. I might also try fancy wallet. It's very similar. So I might try a couple of these keywords, and you don't want to go too broad with your keywords. And you'll notice I did a bracket around these. And the reason why you do a bracket when you're starting out, especially if you have a low budget, is you want to have a very strong, exact match to what you think your ideal customer is going to be searching for. So if you think about this case, these are still pretty broad terms, but maybe I want to go for something that barely any people search for, but could still be a very targeted consumer for me. So maybe I have luxury wallets that have, I don't know, a special type of leather. So I could have a fancy leather wallet. Maybe my business is based in Ohio, right? So I could have Ohio fancy leather wallet. I bet like 2 people search for that every year, maybe. But by having it, you might be able to rank for that term, make that sale, make that really targeted sale. And I guarantee you there's no competition for this. So you use Exact Match. Exact Match is more expensive per click, but you get very targeted results. So just keep that in mind. Broad Match is a very good way to waste all of your money when you're starting out. Phrase Match can be very good if you know what you're doing. So just be very careful when you're starting out. Use these brackets. They are your friend. Trust me. So I'm going to save and continue because we've got a few of these keywords selected out. Now you want to remember these. So I'll actually throw these into a notepad a lot of the time when I'm working through, if I haven't set it up in a bit more of an advanced way. So I'll then save and continue. Okay, great. So in this case, they are setting us up with a responsive search ad, but I'm not even going to bother with that right now. We're going to press cancel, and we're going to save and continue. Okay, so we're going to set our credit card details in here and submit. All right, great. So now we're all done. We're going to explore our campaign. We're going to go back because you notice I didn't actually create an ad because responsive search ads can be great, but they're not as specific. So I recommend that when you're just starting out, I really recommend that you create text basic ads, which I'll show you how to do in just a second here. So up here, we're going to switch back to text ads. And so we're going to do $100wallet.com for our URL. Think back to those keywords that we were initially talking about. So these are what people are going to search for. So you want to have a headline that's going to be very alluring to those types of people. So one of the things we had was a luxury wallet. So best luxury wallets. We also had that super targeted headline about wallets that are made by a company in Ohio. So maybe Ohio based, right? Fancy wallets. this is it's all part of this game, and we'll talk about what goes into the Google Ads keyword quality score, which is essentially this big auction that is based on your ad, your landing page, all of these factors. It's super advanced, so we're not going to worry about it quite in this video, but that's something that you're going to have to consider is what are the exact words in your ad. It's not about how high of a click-through rate can you get necessarily. You have to balance click-through rate with how relevant it is to the person's search, because Google cares about the relevance. And so I might also then throw our brand here, $100 wallet, as a headline here. And you could throw in the registered logo if you're registered, the trademark logo if you're trademarked. That's a cool way to enhance the headline a little bit. And then for your description, you have 90 characters, so there's a lot of real estate here compared to the 30 characters above. So I might have something like shop our top of the line luxury leather wallets, all based in Ohio. I don't know why I'm using Ohio in this example. I mean, it's a fine enough place. I've only been there once, but we'll just use it for this example. And because we had that search, I want to include that keyword in here. And so then I would have another description, something along, something that's alluring, makes them really want to click. Maybe we have 24/7 customer support, free refund, free 30-day no hassle refunds, 2-day shipping, right? Maybe it's free 2-day shipping. That'd be pretty amazing. We'd be competing with Amazon at that point. Free 2-day Amazon shipping. Great. So we've got all of this, and it's starting to look nice. And then you would save your ad. However, you could also create a couple of ads. I recommend when you're starting out, create 2 or 3, give it a try. You're probably not going to get the first one right. In fact, it often takes dozens of ads when you're just starting out because there's so much to consider. My biggest recommendation for you is take a low budget, start small, and start to get data. Start to really understand, what does it look like to get a high CTR? Can I get a high CTR while getting a low cost per click? Can I have both of those things while reaching the target audience that I want? I really want to reach people that are searching for my product in a specific area that have buying intent. What does that look like? What does that phrase look like, right? You can do this in a bunch of different ways, and I'll show you in just a sec one of my favorite ways to prospect specific keywords that I can then test in my ad groups. So we'll jump into that in just a second here. So we're going to save this ad. And so I could just let this run from here and we'd be set. So I'm going to go to Tools and Settings, and I'm going to look for some other options for my keywords though, because I want to take this to the next level. I want to try and reach new audiences. They're going to be super into my wallets. So say I have a new product. It is a carbon fiber wallet. So you'll just type this in, and it's actually really useful. You can type in a couple of these, and it'll give you a recommendation for other keywords that are based on real searches. So these are real people that have searched for this stuff, and it'll show you the volume. It'll also show you a couple other things that we'll break down here. So carbon fiber money clip, right? That's got 100 to 1,000 searches, and you'll see competition very high in the wallet market. It's hard to make this work, so I wouldn't recommend it necessarily unless you have a great way to distinguish yourself. But let's look back at these top of page bids over here, right? So the low range, that's going to be actually something that we can rank for with our $1 bid. However, on the high range, we're probably not going to get the high range bids here. So there's going to be days where we might not spend our budget, and that's totally okay, right? We understand that by setting a lower budget, we're not necessarily, or a lower cost per click bid, we're not necessarily going to capture all of the clicks, but we're going to capture all of the ones that we are okay with spending that much on per click. So that's kind of why I set these. And oftentimes I will set an estimate for what I want my bid to be, and then I'll go check my keywords in the keyword plan, and you can really get a good idea of what the cost per click is going to be, and if you should adjust your bids, because you don't want to get no traffic at all, but you also don't want to be spending too much for it, especially when you're not sure how it's going to convert. So this is a really good, useful tool. And what I actually love, and this is a super useful tip that I learned from the PPC Surfside YouTube channel, so huge shout out to him, is I'll actually go and click a couple of the ones that I'm super interested in, and I will look at the exact match, and you can add these to your keyword plan with a specific type, right? So I want these as exact match because I don't necessarily want super broad version of these keywords. You know, it could start bidding on all types of money clips, for example, or all types of card holders, but I don't want to bid on that. I want to bid on carbon fiber money clip, carbon fiber card holder. So I'm going to add these to a new ad group called carbon fiber. And I'm going to add these keywords to create the plan. And now they're saved in my plan. I can easily add these to my ad group. And there you go. You can also do some fun things like download the keyword ideas and look at them in Excel, and it'll show you some more historical data. That can be super useful as well. Again, that's a more advanced thing, so we don't have to worry about that too much. So let's wrap up, and I'll give you an overview of kind of where we came and where we've gotten to with this, short plan, and then where we can go next. What are the big, more advanced topics, or even still the beginner topics that kind of come together for a very useful ad account. Okay, so we've got our campaign, we've got our ad group, we've got our ad. Now we've only got one ad in here. And I really recommend having, 3 to 4, if not even more, as I kind of talked about earlier. But don't worry, this channel is going to have a bunch of other videos on advertising, kind of my best practices, any secrets I've learned in 5+ years of doing agency work, spending millions of dollars and making a ton of mistakes. But from here, what are the big things, that we need to focus on to really improve this, right? One thing I talk about a ton to my clients is the match between the ad itself, the text right here that I have highlighted, and the keywords that people are searching for. So what is that search? What is the intention of the person? Are they just looking? Are they window shopping? Or is this person ready to buy, right? If they're looking, if they're interested in learning more, you might send them to a different page than if they have money in hand and they want your fancy wallet, right? You want to send them to a purchase page if they are ready to buy. So how could these keywords change based on that? Well, this exact match in particular, you could include buy luxury wallet. Now, buy is a very high intent word. You only usually look that up when you are ready to buy. People are pretty predictable. And as it happens, those are the highest intent keywords, and they're also the highest competition. So you want to kind of tread carefully with these and make sure that you really understand your market, or try to find some low competition keywords that include buy, because you might have an opportunity if your product is a great fit. So right below search keywords, though, is something called negative keywords. So negative keywords are keywords that you don't want to show up for. For example, if people are, maybe they're being a little bit cheap and they want to find your thing for free, right? Maybe you are selling a course, or you have some paid content, paywalled content out there, or you have something that is very premium and they're trying to get it for free, right? So you don't want to rank for someone looking for that because they're likely not going to buy. They're not going to convert in the way that you want them to. Maybe you also don't want to rank for a huge conglomerate's version of your product, your item, like Amazon, right? So you would pull out Amazon, and Walmart, for example, or Alibaba or AliExpress. These are all very good examples. You might also pull out Coupon. Don't worry, I actually will put a list of these in the description that I always use in almost all of my campaigns. So you can literally just copy and then paste that list. It's literally going to just be a notepad. So I'm going to put that in the description below. Let me know if I don't. And so then I'm going to save these into my campaign for luxury wallets. And then once you start spending money and you're accruing searches and you're getting clicks, this search terms report will start to populate and you'll be able to get a really good idea of how many impressions have I gotten, how many clicks I've gotten, what is the click-through rate, are some of these clicks way more expensive for me? Are they adding that much value for how expensive they are? So that's another thing you can look at. And then you can dive into auctions insights, which are the coolest piece of this, in my opinion. It's kind of like a competitive map of who's bidding against you. What does the area look like? Maybe you're bidding against, in my case, $100 wallets. I'm bidding against $101 wallets, and they are just going to town on me, right? They have a higher, they have bigger budgets, they have better impression share, so they're capturing more of the traffic, and I have to punch above my weight class to beat $101 wallets. It's good to have that information, and it's nice that Google provides it to you in this really clear way. So that's one thing to check as well. And then you have the Audiences tab. This will tell you, mostly this is going to tell you the performance of specific audiences that you add. Again, we'll talk about audiences and the way to use audiences in a future video. Then you have audiences that you might exclude. For example, I always exclude a list of my current purchasers, and I make sure to keep that list updated as often as possible, ideally once a week. And then it kind of gets more and more advanced from here, right? And so I don't worry about focusing on this too much, but it's something you should keep in mind if you ever want to, dive into the data and get super nerdy with it like I do. And then you can see your ad schedule. So there's a bunch of cool advanced data points that you can look in here. And then you can go up to the Overview tab to see what the high-level performance is and see which ads are performing the best. I don't spend too much time here. I like to dive into the specific campaign, ad group, ad, and keyword tabs. And then I recommend ignoring recommendations and insights. Now you might think, well, those tabs have such helpful names, Alex. Why would I ignore those? Great question. The purpose of both of those tabs is to get you to spend more money. Because at the end of the day, Google, while they are a great company, is trying to get more and more profit. So if they can get you to spend $110 where you would have normally spent $100, and they're going to do it in a way that feels like they've recommended something helpful, they will absolutely do that. So they're not bad, but if you're going to go into the recommendations area, do it carefully, because I've seen a lot of stuff where a client goes and they applied all of the recommendations. They got the optimization score up to 100%. They're like, oh man, I just crushed it. I pressed apply, apply, apply. And then next week, everything's on fire. They're wondering why their purchase cost doubled. Their sales went way down. Their return on ad spend's totally in the toilet. And they're like, Alex, please fix it. And I'm like, did you go into the recommendations tab? And they're like, yeah, well, I just applied everything. It's going to be bad. If you can not pull out anything else out of this video, just don't press the recommendations tab. Don't go for that 100%. It's not worth it. It's totally gamified, right? They want us to get that 100%, but it's better off if you don't. All right. So in the future videos, I'll be talking about other advanced topics on this channel, like Facebook ads, Reddit ads, Snapchat, TikTok. We're going to go through all of the basic tutorials, but then I'm also going to be following up with advanced tutorials around Google Ads and other things like SEO, how to connect things to Shopify, how to create your own advanced automated dashboards that literally will just tell you how your performance is at any time automatically. It's super easy. That stuff is going to require no coding, no advanced knowledge. It's going to be plug and play. You're going to love it. So definitely check that out when those videos come out. Please subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and let me know how I can improve. Pretty new to YouTube, but I'm really trying to make an impact and positively help people with my knowledge in this space, because I've been around for quite a while. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.